The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the speakers and guest. They do not represent the views of our sponsors or any entities they represent. Enjoy the Big A Talk Show.
What's going on, people? I'm your host, Big A, and this is the Big A Talk Show. Let's get it. Oh, they crazy. Crazy American politics. The lies. This episode, I want to dedicate to Herschel Walker. Now, you all know Herschel Walker was the Republican candidate out in Georgia. And the reason why I call it crazy American politics is I don't understand America. Here's the part I don't understand about America. Republicans are going to say, well, we just wanted the seat because of the political advantage, and we don't really care that the person who is in the seat is a liar, right? Not only am I going to talk about Herschel Walker and one of his lies, I'm also, and I just got to because I know it's fresh on the brain, I'm going to mention Mr. Santos. Herschel Walker has publicly talked about his disdain for absentee fathers, and I don't have to do too much here. You can go on the internet, you can fact check, find out whether or not Mr. Walker was telling the truth. Why would the people of Georgia still make it that the race had to go to a runoff? And I'm thinking to myself, is it that crazy in American politics that if you are a Republican, if you are a racist, if you are somebody who goes, well, I'm voting for Kemp and I don't care about Herschel Walker, he's a Republican, so I'm voting for him. If you don't care about the moral value of this country, the moral value of the system that you're electing someone in, then I need to question the moral value that you have in your own home. Herschel Walker lied, but almost 50%, listen to this, almost 50% of the state of Georgia voted for this man. Even after it was proven that he was lying, 50% still voted for this man. And it makes me think, well, wait a minute. He's not the only one, right? Politicians lie. We know this. We call it the kissing baby, right? They lie. They make promises. They don't come into fruition. But for the most part, Americans have founded this country on what we call a democracy. And I've got a whole episode on whether or not America is truly democratic. But the founding of America, and this is what I really want to get into for those that are like me, we are a minority in this country. I need you to at least think about this. The founding of this country was not founded for the principles and the life that we want to live, right? Let's just be honest to each other. For my white listeners, for my black, brown, Latino, Asian American listeners, let's just be honest with each other for a minute. The democracy that America built was a democracy that was built by foreigners, people who came on their boats, not enslaved like my ancestors, but came on their boats and took over the lands of America. They formed what they call the United States of America. And this formation, they created the political parties. This was a way of balancing the need of power. This was a way of balancing the way the country was to progress. But that balancing, the laws, the foundation of what this country was built on was not really built for the African American male. It wasn't really built for the Puerto Rican or the Asian American. It was built for the white American. Let's just be honest with ourselves, right? And there's no harm in that because it's the truth. Now, because it's true, there's a responsibility on white Americans to make sure that the foundational stability of this country is supported by people who are not liars. Now, please stay with me. There's a lot of politicians out there in the world that are liars, right? They say one thing and they do another. They're corrupt. They steal money. They do all these things. But politics in America is going a little bit crazy when we find out that not only are people lying, but people are so willing to believe the lie. Now I'm not going to get into all the big lie, right, about the elections and being stolen. That's a whole nother episode. What I'm talking about is how can a group of people knowingly, I just really question what type of value system is going on within the individual. And you get all into the comments and you all can express your comments there. What is the moral value system of a person who will be lied to and go, yep, I'm voting for you? That's Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker talks about absentee fathers, but throughout his campaign have shown that he has refused to even publicly acknowledge his own children, right? That's 3 of his own children. He says he supports them and that he loves them all, but you know his kids have come out and these are grown children, right? Not the devil. And they've said, no, he's lying. He is lying to us. And then, of course, there's this new guy, and he just came out of nowhere. I don't know where this individual is from, meaning I don't know how he even made his play on the political stage. But George Santos is probably one of the worst examples of a system, which is supposed to be a democratic system, allowing someone who has blatantly lied on their credentials. Y'all remember the whole thing asking about Barack's birth certificate, right? They were so hinged on validating him as a candidate that here we have somebody who has blatantly lied, and you can validate their lies, but you're still allowing them to represent the people. And the people who voted for Santos, I need to ask you, what was your thinking? Was it just, oh, he's a Republican, so I'm just voting for any Republican? Or did you have a candidate who you knew morally their value system was such that they could be put in office to represent you in such a way that you did not have to worry that now you have a candidate who is being exposed as a blatant liar? George Santos, this is what he says. He discovered the cure for polio. George Santos tells voters that he fought in the Revolutionary War. If you open up the internet today and saw any of these headlines, right? This is from a Vanity Fair article at the New York Times or BuzzFeed or anywhere else, you probably wouldn't be surprised because that's where we are in the George Santos story. First, it was revealed that this newly elected congressman had lied about where he went to school and the companies he worked for. That's almost like somebody lying on their resume, right? I went to Harvard, I worked for Morgan Stanley, and then your employer finds out that these things were false. What's the first thing your employer is going to do? You're going to be fired because that's falsifying documents, right? But he lied about this, and people were still willing to vote for him. And even after his lies came to light, he refused to resign. And there's nothing coming from his counterparts. The other Republicans are saying, hey, dude, we don't want you next to us because you're a liar. Just like Herschel Walker, he had to lose in a runoff in the state of Georgia because the people of Georgia, now, for those minorities that know this, the state of Georgia is a very red state. And what I mean by red, I love the people of Georgia, but you have a lot of race issues in Georgia. And people think of Georgia, especially us minorities. We go, oh, Atlanta, I love Atlanta. What you talking about, Big A? Atlanta is wonderful. Yeah, Atlanta is a small city in the state of Georgia. And what I want you to understand is the state of Georgia. I was with my family most recently, and we were driving from Florida, Port St. Lucie, Florida, into Georgia. If you've taken this route, you know exactly what I'm about to say. You got effigies, Confederate flags, you've got nooses, all these things on signs as you drive into the state of Georgia, letting you know exactly what the state of Georgia is like. So it wasn't surprising to me that even though he's black, the fact that he was a Republican, that the state of Georgia still voted for him because the other white Republicans said vote for Herschel Walker. Well, I've got the same issue with the people in the state that nominated Mr. Santos. What were you thinking? Is it just that he's a Republican, so it makes it worthy that he can be a liar? And we're still going to we're not asking for his resignation. We're not doing the things that a responsible democratic society would do to remove this individual from office. But oh Lord, let it be Barack's birth certificate, or let it be Hillary's emails, right? And you're quick to want to impeach and dismiss people. So let me leave us with this on this podcast. Hillary Clinton said a word that just drove people insane, right? She used a word called deplorable. Deplorable. These deplorable people. And I don't think she was given an opportunity to fully express what she meant by using this word deplorable. But when I use the word deplorable, I use it in this term. I have, in my whole life, been a jovial person. I don't hate white people. I don't think of white people in any negative way. If anything, my people, my black people, we're a jovial race. If white people would leave us alone, we'd be just fine. But when I think about a racist and that individual goes, well, I don't like you just because. Just because what? Just because I'm black? I hate you and I'm not going to give you a job and you people. And I think to myself, that person is deplorable. The very value system of just hating someone just because, the moral value of nominating someone, well, just because, even though they're a liar, I'm going to nominate you. I think to myself, that individual is deplorable. They have a deplorable sense of value. They have a deplorable, bubbling it up here, all right? Because I'm real passionate about this. They have a deplorable attitude towards their fellow human. Racism in America is probably coming to the forefront now. It's always been there, but we know over the past few years, we've seen it more and more. Now, in order for us to fully embrace the foundations of what this country, again, not founded for me, what this country was founded to do, we have to hold our leaders accountable. I call it power to the people. So you elected, you chose to vote. We as a people decide who our officials are going to be. They don't just do it. Okay, people? Regardless of what you're thinking, we get to vote these people in office. We need to have the moral and value fortitude to nominate people who are actually going to represent the causes, who are actually going to represent what the people, the democracy of the United States of America was founded on. Crazy in America, crazy American politics. I've got maybe 10 more episodes where we're going to dive into different aspects of America, different aspects of American democracy. And hopefully I want you to use the comments and y'all can talk about it back and forth. Hopefully we'll find that during these discussions, we more and more get to see that America is falling way past the principles in which it was founded. Crazy in America, crazy American politics.